Algebra 2, this is Chapter 4, Section 8. This is the fourth of 6 videos. So I'm going to show you, first of all, how I would solve this equation using elimination, and then I'm going to show you how I do elimination inside matrices to basically get a triangulation, or I get a diagonal or an identity matrix going to help get my answer. Sounds confusing at first, but once you get good at this, this is actually my preferred method by hand to deal with matrices to solve systems of equations. So let's solve this system of equations. I'm going to want to use elimination, and so I'm going to get rid of my x's first, and then I'm going to get rid of my y's. To multiply the top equation by a 4, multiply the bottom equation by a -5. That will get rid of my x's. And so this is going to be 20x plus 12y is equal to 4 times 13 is 52. And the -4, so that would be -20x. And then that's going to be minus 35y is going to be equal to positive 40. And so the x's go away. This becomes 12 minus 35 is a negative 23y is equal to 50 plus 40 is 92. And so if I divide both sides by 23, y is going to be equal to a -4. Notice that that is 1y is equal to a -4. Now I can substitute back in, or I could use elimination and get rid of the y's and solve for x. But hopefully you remember your elimination method, and you've got the basics of what I'm about ready to do. I'm not going to finish solving this one. I'm going to solve it with my other method. So with my other method, I'm going to make what's called an augmented matrix. So I'm going to take my 5, my 3, my 4, and my 7, and then I'm actually going to add a line and a 13 and a -8. So this is how I learned how to do augmented matrix. The goal here would be is to make this 5 into a 1, this 7 into a 1, and these two numbers into zeros. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to do some manipulation. So I can multiply the top row by, let's see, if I want to get to 1. Oh, if I just add them, 5 plus 4 gives me 1, doesn't it? Okay, so if I add them, I'm going to take 5 plus, or minus them, subtract them. So 5 minus 4, and I'll keep this first one, 5, 3, 13. And then I'm going to subtract them and replace the second one. So 5, nope, sorry, my bad. Go back. I do want to subtract them. I want the 1 to be in the top, right? I want this to be a 1. So I'm going to keep the bottom one and replace the top one with that. So keep the bottom one, 4, 7, -8. So if I subtract them, 5 minus 4 is 1, 3 minus 7 is a -4, and 13 minus the -8 would actually be 13 plus 8, which would be a 21. Okay, so I have my 1 here. Next thing I want to do is I would like to make that into a 0. So to make that into a 0, first thing I want to do is I am good with keeping my 1 here, right? So then I need to make this into a 0. So to make that a 0, I need to multiply the top one by a -4 and then add. So -4 times 1 added to the 4, and this seems really complicated, would be 0. -4 times 4, -4 is positive 16. Positive 16 plus 7 is a 23. And -4 times 21 is a -84. Added to 8 would be a -92. Okay, so far so good. I've got my 1, I've got my 0. I would like this to become a 1 if at all possible. So if I just divided everything here by 23, that would get that into a 1. So let me rewrite my first equation. So 1, negative 4, 21. And I'm going to divide this bottom equation, both sides, by 23. So that's going to, 0 divided by 23 is 0. 23 divided by 23 is 1. And negative 92 divided by 23 is a negative 4. Okay, so the last thing to do is to get this to be a 0. And yeah, you've got to be really good at your math to do this, but this is a really slick way to solve these things. Again, this is how I prefer to do it. So I'm going to keep my bottom one, because my bottom one now has my 1 and my 0 just where I want them, 0, 1, negative 4. And I want to replace my top one. So I need to, whatever is going to happen to get rid of that negative 4. Well, if I multiply the bottom by a positive 4 and add, 4 times 0 would be 0, plus 1 would be 1. 4 times 4 would be 4. 4 plus negative 4 would be 0. 4 times negative 4 is a negative 16. So 21 minus 16. So that would be a 5, right? And so that would give me my answer right now. This represents my x. I've got 1x is 5. And this represents my y, so I've got y is equal to negative 4. And my answer would be 5, negative 4. No, I did not expect you to get really good at this right away. Just another method to use it. You might want to look at it a couple times, see if you can understand it. Really slick way, and this is kind of what the calculator is going to do behind the scenes when I show you the calculator way.